In this class, we are going to discuss about procurement options. In this procurement options, we are going to discuss about variations of various procurement options. So this session is mostly focused towards variations on design and build, variations on traditional type of procurement method, and variations on construction management contracting. So here, if you see the design and build, which is a procurement position where one organization is responsible to the client for both the design and construction. Normally, a traditional method, traditional procurement method is one organization deal with the design separately and another organization deal with the construction separately. But here you can see in the name itself, design combined with construction. You can easily clearly understand that design combined with construction means design and construction are taken place or handled over by the same organization. So here, if you see the variations on design and build, we are having various variations here: direct, competitive, develop and construct, package deal, turnkey, private finance initiative, which is known as PFI, which is build, own, operate and transfer, boot. So these are the major variations on design and build. For example, if you take a direct method of variation, it is that there is no such process of tendering, competitive process like calling off various contractors. So in this type of direct contract, directly a contractor will be contacted after a basic appraisal of contractor eligibility and previous projects. Then directly the contractor has been given the contract after some negotiations and discussions. So in this case, there is no competition obtained through tenders, but the contractor is selected through some sort of appraisal process. Now coming to competitive, which is a normal casual process where the tender documents are released through a notice, and interested contractors according to their eligibility will apply or will submit their tenders. So the tenders are open according to the bidding or tender process. Thus the competitive tender is selected. So this is a competitive tendering process or competitive method of procurement option, which is in casual. So direct means there is no such process. A contractor will be directly approached according to their appraisal. So now coming to the third option called develop and construct. So the name itself clearly says that it is to develop and construct. So it's not about design and construct. So develop and construct. Development, the basic design, which is known as the scope of the design, is provided by the client, and then contractor has to develop it well in detail, and it has to go for construction process. So the contractor who got selected through competitive tenders will be given a basic partial stage of design, which is known as scope design. Then he has to develop it further and go for construction. So in this type of approach, the client have flexibility to make sure that what is the partial design or what is the scope of the design has been given, and from the contractor point of view, how much it has to be developed and constructed by the contractor. So in this condition, assessment of risk and disputes over the interpretation of this flexibility both at tender stage and subsequently during construction, so can be more considerable than at first may be apparent. So the risk assessment and disputes can be easily accumulated. Why? Because the client have clear idea on what is the design they have given and how far it has to be developed by the contractor. So then package deal. So package deal is a type of approach where the contractor has been given the total responsibility, sometimes selection of site and obtaining permissions, obtaining statutory permissions or approvals. So perhaps this has to be on the contractor side itself, though it will be charged to the client. So here package deal, sometimes contractor may go with his previous best projects, or client sides any building systems, or there should be it can be any repetitive theme. So turnkey, which is a basic known example, that turnkey means occupying a project without involving in any such construction or design activities. So it's like a ready-made product, or client might have given a contract to contractor or an organization where there is a very minimal client involvement into the project. So he just pay the required amount of money, and he'll take key, and turnkey means like it's opening like a door, key, insert key into the lock and open the door and use the property. So this is how the turnkey approach is called as. And the best example is rather than constructing a villa on their own, getting approvals, contacting electricity, municipality, baldia and all, it's a direct purchase of a villa, direct purchase of a house without having any prior involvement. So the best example for a turnkey is a private housing sector. So coming to private finance initiative. Private finance initiative is an example of a turnkey, but however here the aim was in this type of approach, private investments are encouraged to maximize the scope, and private in finance while concentrating inevitably and capital provisions, whatever the reason, private finance is not possible. So generally major hospitals, prisons, roads, rails, educational projects are the best examples of private finance initiative. So which can be seen as a turnkey on a grand scale, so it's like rather than client, some other person, like the private person invest, or the private person keeps finance on the project as an initiative, and later on he can sell the object, or he can sell the project to someone else. It's like some of the turnkey, someone will finance and invest or construct the project, and another person will buy and use it further. So this is the best example for private finance initiative. Then the most important one is build, own, operate, transfer. BOOT, the BOOT organization. See, build, for example, government would like to construct a express highway from one place to another place, but government doesn't want to invest on that, or doesn't want to provide funds for that. So it's not like doesn't want to, it's like a type of approach that they don't want to initiate, or they don't want to invest on this initially. So what they'll call for a contract, and they give the contract to some organization. So on a case that they have to build it on their own, they have to build it with their finance or with their investment, then it will be owned by the organization for a particular period of time. It has to be operated by the organization to the agreed period of time. After the end of the period, the organization has to transfer the property and all rights to the government body. For example, if you go to a UAE, you can see roads are monitored by SALIC. So where the user has to pay toll means like it's a fee, yes, and a basic fee like 4 dirhams, or it's like 400 paisa per one time entry. So it was constructed by an organization, might be like this: BOOT, build, own, operate. So the organization has owned it, and they are operating it for say example for 5 years. So after 5 years they will transfer it to the respective authority. So this is the best example for build, own, operate and transfer. So now until now we have discussed about design and build. Now it is like design and manage. So in this type of variation, we are having two types of variation. One is contractor and another one is consultant. So as you know, the contractor, so contractor provides the design and he manages the work generally by employing work contractors and subcontractors. for the process of design and for the process of construction. So here the dealing is between the client and the the contractor, where contractor have contacts with work contractors and subcontractors whom he employed it. Then coming to consultant, so consultant will be a consultant is a client's agent. So he is on behalf of client. He is on behalf of client, and the client's agent designs and manages the work and obtains subcontract tenders from work contractors, who then each enter into direct contract with the client. If you see the above condition, contractor only client and the contractor are in direct contract. However, work contractors and subcontractors are employees of contractor. In this condition, consultant designs the project, and he obtains tenders from subcontractors and work contractors who are required to work on the project of design and construction stages. Altogether, whoever is involved in this process are directly gets into contract with the consultant. So this is of design and manage. Next one is traditional. In this traditional method of approach, you can see this until now it was like design combined with construction, but here it changes to design separate from construction. So it says that design is handled by separate organization and the construction process is organized by separate organization. So sequential, it's like a normal generic process. Specified design is prepared with the documentation, then called for tenders, contractors bid and selected the best the least tender and allowed the contract. It's a sequential general procedure. Now it is accelerated. So accelerated means a contractor is appointed earlier in the sequence of design on the basis of partial information. So they have called for a basic submission of design from contractors. Through this basic partial designs, they may appoint a contractor, and either by negotiation or through competition. So negotiation from the basis of the initial partial information takes place once the final design information becomes available. So this is what is accelerated. A contractor is appointed on the basis of partial information. So the third one is partial design of parts or elements of the work. So it is like a drawn and specific design is prepared by the client's design consultant. So here a specific design is prepared by the client's. So client have appointed a design consultant and they prepare a specific design, and then the remaining parts or some parts of the project is designed by the contractor. So both will be incorporated into the construction contract. So here client have appointed a design consultant, and some part of the design will be some part of the design is handled by the client's consultant, and the remaining is handled by the contractor. So this is what a traditional method is. Coming to management contracting. So here in this the management method, we are having three things like management contracting, construction management and fee management. If you see the definitions looks like same, the first two lines looks like same, but the final point will make the change of the three definitions. The first one is the appointed management contractor provides the service of managing for a fee all the works. This is common for everything, for every method. Contractors who are deliver the project by employing them as subcontractors. So the management contractor employs work contracts and subcontractors as their employees. Okay. Next, construction management is that works contractors delivers the project, but each of them enters into direct contract. Here the construction management contractor as well as works contractor enters into the contract. Next one is prime cost basis. So it is like the management contractor will appoint subcontractors and work contractors, but it will be included in the final contract. So these are the definitions, and we will do revision in the class.